My name is Christopher Impelia. I've been a Roma supporter since before I was born, when Russell Crowe came to me in a dream whilst I was in my mother's womb, telling me that he would one day make an awesome film about ancient Rome, and that I must also partake in the glories of the Eternal City, for as Americans take over the ownership of the team and become the first foreign owners of any Italian squad, I wish to present the first ever, exclusively AS Roma talk show in English. Reporting from New York, I bring you La Lupa. Here, we will discuss everything from in-depth match analysis to which Inter player you would most like to punch in the face. I would go for Lucio every time. Here, we are biased in favor of Roma, and we are proud of it. Forza Roma. Welcome back to the Lupa. This is our second episode, and of course, I'm in a great mood this time because after a victory, I'm always in a great mood, this time against Palermo. And unfortunately, Tom, my co-host, cannot be here today, so instead he will be replaced by my statuette of Francesco Totti, who of course is like my little prayer idol. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Palermo game, and then our special subject today will be the evolution of Totti's hair. So the goal, it was slight fortunate because Munoz, who played a pretty good game, he always muscled off Lamela or Totti. He had that crappy pass, landed right to Lamela, but it was a beautiful ball from Lamela through the defender's legs, past the other defender, the last man, and Borini, that's just a perfect finish. Just takes one touch, doesn't even think about it, slots it into the bottom of the net, and Borini is definitely going to be a star. We hope that he stays at Roma. In terms of the Palermo game, obviously Luis Enrique was very pleased with the result, not conceding a goal for once, and against a tough squad who's capable, who's caused us all kinds of trouble in the past, and is capable of pretty strong counterattack, which is, of course, something that's been bothering Roma for way too long. Ilicic and Miccoli, of course, are always going to cause problems. They're quick, they're really active, always turn the defense into shambles. So it was really good, especially with Kaya in the center defense, that we held on and didn't concede, although we came extremely close. I don't know, I feel like sometimes it's even better to win 1-0 and grind out a really impressive defensive performance rather than win 3 or 4, because then it's not the same. It's much better to have that confidence now instilled in the defense that they can actually grind out tough results. And of course, that is what truly makes champions, is those teams like Manchester United and Inter, what we've just seen a million times in Milan, who can go up 1-0 and then just grind out and occasionally do that very comfortably and not concede too much to their opponents. So I'm always happy when Roma's able to have a good hard-fought 1-0. So of course Luis Enrique's very satisfied with the whole thing. It's a great reaction after the Lazio defeat, and of course Lazio lost today, which is awesome. So hopefully things are going to be brighter now, and there'll be a little bit more determination. And I hope I almost feel like Roma should play Lazio every week or every other week, just so that intensity stays high. Because of course we always have that tendency to, unfortunately, to just sort of sort of fall apart against these lesser teams. It was a great performance, and I'm really, really pleased with that. So the lineup was slightly different than what I thought would be the best lineup last week when we were looking at this match. Jose Angel and Rossi did get the start, so I was really pleased with that, and they both had pretty good games, especially Jose Angel, who was a beast on the left, stopped all attacks and was great going forward as usual, so I think he should be pretty, first choice every time. Glad to see Tadej was not there. He gave away the ball far too many times, and he's, I think, on his way out. In the center of midfield, we didn't see Simplicio, or Marquinhos from the start, which I thought would be the best option. Instead, we had Gago, who was recuperated, and of course, Gago is just a sight to behold. He's beautiful, his footwork is great, and he just controls the midfield with De Rossi. He should definitely be there starting every time, as long as he's fit. I think Simplicio did deserve a place in that starting lineup. Instead, there was Greco, but I think Greco's still a very good player, similar in style to Simplicio, and I think he did really well, and he definitely has a future at Rome, and of course I love him because he's from the youth system, and it's great to see a whole bunch of Roma youth guys out there on the pitch. Now, one thing that did really bother me was Mikuli's composure and his conduct on the pitch, and of course you have to respect him for what he means to Sicilian football, and he's an amazing player. He scores free kicks for fun, but I've never seen someone threaten to scratch someone's face off. That was probably scarier than when someone grabbed someone else by the throat. When he got in an argument with Heinze because he thought Gaga was wasting time on the pitch, and Heinze brushed away his arm, and then Mikuli just gestured to him with the claw. Just trying to imagine like a 5'5" guy, 300 pounds of just pure steel and anger coming up to you with a claw. That kind of scared me. Anyway, it was a great result, and hopefully the confidence will be high for the next match. And of course, it's not going to be easy. It's never easy against Genoa, but we do hope for the best. And starting lineup, hopefully we can stay consistent and stick with what worked this time around. Possibly introduce Bojan earlier because he's amazing and we really need to see more of him. Alright, so now for today's special subject. Last week we discussed wags, which we'll definitely bring up in the future. Today I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of Totti's hair. Because as we know, Totti's sort of like the Beckham of Italy. He sets all the trends, or at least he used to set all the trends in terms of hairstyles and clothing. And so just take a look back and see how his style has evolved. Now he started with sort of that long-ish bowl cut, cropped at the sides, but still pretty flowage. Good crop at the back. I remember my brother had that haircut when he was a youth. So that was, good 90s Italian haircut. I remember a whole bunch of my Italian friends sported that one. Then that quickly evolved as he became, into his wild 20s, and he started to sport the classic long flowing locks, which is always beautiful. I remember I had long flowing locks until very recently. And I remember back then in the, early 2000s, all the Italian guys had the long flowing locks just like Totti. It's a beautiful sight. I think that started to bother him after a while. He went to the ponytail mode for a little bit. Ponytail mode was pretty cool, but it didn't last very long. But yeah, still great style. Now from ponytail mode, he sort of switched it up a bit. I think he liked to keep it long, but he went to something a little bit strange, sort of like a long mullet, and then he topped that with a bandana. So, not bad, not a bad look, a little bit weird, but still pretty classic Totti, and we all respect him for that. Then he went through a bit of a different stage for this advertisement. I call it the Orlando Bloom, because for some reason in this, it's just like Pirates of the Caribbean right there. So, Totti Bloom, I think Orlando would be proud. They could be brothers there. So then, of course, he went through this whole injury, wanted to come back as a fresh man for the World Cup, and he went for the short crop. And the short crop, is a little bit controversial at first. It's like, it's not the same Totti. You can't spot him out on the field as easily without the long flowing locks. But then from that, he went to the classic, what is now the universal faux hawk, which I think 90% of footballers have, especially Mediterranean ones. And the faux hawk has its, pros and cons. I'm not a big fan of the faux hawk only because there's just too many of them out there, and it doesn't always. In some cases it doesn't bring out the best in players. We all know what happened to Fernando Torres. He had his beautiful flowing locks, was scoring goals for fun. Then he got a faux hawk, dyed his hair dark to join his fellow Spaniards in style, and now he's terrible. blame it on the haircut. So then from the faux hawk, you know, some people think, what's next? You know, what's coming next? And I don't know. I think Defoe has a beautiful example of what Totti should do next. That's just a suggestion, Totti. You don't have to, you know, take this for my word. You know, it's just a suggestion, but it's beautiful. I don't know what to call it. I call it the strip, but it definitely makes you run faster, better aerodynamics. So, in terms of hairstyles, that is it. Totti, we still love you no matter what your hair looks like. Even if you lose all your hair, you'll still be beautiful to us. And that concludes today's beautiful TV show, episode 2. Stay tuned for episode 3. Hopefully Tom will join me again. And of course, subscribe. I'll be trying to pile on these videos as many as possible if you guys are still interested. And questions, comments, anything, just send it to my email or just comment on the video. And love to hear from you, and tune in next time.
Ma che vuoi?